Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our third computer literacy seminar of 2023. This has been part of the introduction series to programming, and today is a bit of project management presented by Dr. Kivanc, Dincer. He has his PMP certification and is here to talk to us today all about project management. So I'll take it away from you. The camera is right about here. So
Okay. Hi guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
is it not?
Oh, okay. It says no.
That's okay. I can. Oh, there it goes.
Okay. So this is about me. I've been teaching here for about 4 years plus a few months. Right now, and I'm in the School of Technology, Engineering and Technology CS program. These are more related to my topic today. I'm a PhD, which is a certified project management professional. I also have other certifications like business analysis, testing, and security professional. Assessments, etc. I was in the industry, that's why they were more important. I worked most of the time for the industry and I joined here a couple of months ago. Okay, do I do this or you do it?
No, this is all you.
Okay, project management is something much. You do a lot of things in professional project management, in the real projects. We thought that we start with the scope management, determine the scope of the project. And as you see, there's initiation and planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing the processes. So this shows us about the 10 areas. Actually, I made a mistake and I just repeated this variable stuff here. I just wrong, copied it. So we work in about 10 different fields, 10 different disciplines to manage a project, managing the schedule, managing the scope, managing the course, managing the people, managing the quality, etc. And integrations with other projects. I don't remember all this stuff, but it is very complicated. And we are going to look at only part of it today. That's why I said a bit of project management. We are mostly going to look at how we do the scheduling and or prepare a project plan, time-wise. How we define the activities, sequence them, estimate the durations, and create a work breakdown structure. We are going to produce a Gantt chart, hopefully time allows, and then we are going to start there. So we are doing just one line, and it will take about an hour.
Okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Maybe. Oh man.
Okay.
There we go.
So we are going to start with the definitions a little bit about project, process, software development processes, software development life cycle, etc. Then I'm going to move to the 2 different models of projects. Management, software development, which is waterfall and agile. I'll give 2 examples. They tell you about the differences very quickly. Then we are going to run a case study or an example, which is very small, for about 5 to 10 minutes. You will do something for me. You are going to help me to plan on something. And then we will talk about the Gantt charts, how that we can visualize our plans. And hopefully we will do another step to reflect the plan into a project, into a Gantt chart, and then close it. It will hopefully finish in 50 minutes. Okay, I try terminology a little bit. Projects. A project is a temporary endeavor. That means it has a limited time, it has a starting time, it has an end time. So we have to fix the time. And you try to create or you target to create a unique product, a service result, which is tangible in that specific time. So you start with the targets, the region, what you want to do, and what you want to produce, etc. Processes are important. I am going to shift the things to the process aspect over here because you are mostly from the computer science domain, so we will be shifting the things to the software engineering more in this presentation. So we start with the processes. We always talk about the processes and project management. That chart I showed you at the beginning, it is from a reference book, which is a project management guide for everybody, for all disciplines. But for us, the processes over there are more customized in respect to the software development, so we will look at the software development. But in general, across a set of activities, set of ordered activities, we just define the things step by step until the end, until we reach the service or result or product here. And we divide the activities into smaller tasks. They are also ordered. So we usually divide the things into smaller parts and then more smaller parts so that we can manage them more easily. We can schedule them and we can get a hold of them. Because when we say things very large and large, it's difficult to plan or work on them. Okay, so usually the processes are like recipes. So a recipe is a process. We cook a cheese omelet. We just list the activities or steps, activities, tasks, everything about how to do this. The end result is the omelet, this one. Are you hungry?
Very.
Yes. Unfortunately, my examples are all about the food today. Okay, you are going to do this, and you start with the who is going to do this. I could somebody like me, like you. You specify the actor. Sometimes there's more than one. For simplicity today, everything, all the resources are just one person. So we start with a single cook. If you are, you start with the inputs. You do 2, 1 egg, maybe 2, salt, pepper, cheese, and this. What is this? Oregano? Mint, maybe a mint, etc. So they have to be complete. Then you just start talking about what you are going to do. You put the pan in the stove, set the stove to the ingredients, and then break the eggs into the bowl. Add some salt, pepper, stir them together. Add cooking oil. So you see that some of them are not in the input, so you have to add all the inputs here so that you get ready for the process. Cheese. And pour the eggs in the pan, spreading on them, fold them, wait until it gets light brown, etc., etc. So you just talk about or you describe all the steps about doing it, so that at the end you are going to get this nice cheese omelet. Okay, this is our process. Sometimes we use a process model, which is easier. We just talk about the general steps. General activities, make it more visual, because sometimes there might be more than one thing that we do while we are cooking something. We can also do some other things in parallel, etc. So this type of charts or this type of models let us to show the things more visually. Okay, and this is a more detailed description of the process. We have inputs. All the inputs, and we should check whether all the entry criteria is met. That means we should prepare all the inputs first to start the process. Otherwise, we will get stuck somewhere here. We want to get ready so that we can proceed. Then entry criteria, everything is ready. Let's start and just do transformation. Just execute the activities one after another. We divide the activities into smaller tasks so that we can make it more manageable or more detailed, because these are general activities. Cook the eggs or process the eggs, like very general. If you're a good cook or experienced cook, these are good enough. You know how to cook the eggs, right? Are you? Okay. If you don't, then you should give more details. So you go to the tasks and we define the things in more detail, like wait until it gets light gold brown. Maybe it is light gold brown. I don't understand. So it's a medium heat and wait for 10 minutes. Make it more specific so that it will be repeatable. This is how we do in project management. We define our plan in detail. We also have sometimes we talk about the artifacts in software domain deliverables. Artifacts is all types of things that we produce, usually documents. Deliverables are software, anything runnable or anything artifacts that is any document that we deliver to the customer. Roles, the people actors that we specify there. So we define the process in terms of those terms. And we start with the user needs. User requires something. It is a platform with some specific constraints. Yes, some specific constraints. We convert that needs to a software. So there is a number of steps here and processes executed to come up with this software. And the software project is just an instance of this problem. That means we start with the user needs, we come up with the software, following some steps in a certain time, limited time, specified. And what we do here in between is called the software process. And we just reflect it to our plans. For that process over there, many times it is called as a software development process. If we are just interested in just the development part of it, or software development life cycle, just like a human being, it just has phases or stages of doing things. And we basically have two different processes or methods to develop something. One of them is the traditional method. We do things one after another. We just describe the things step by step. We start with the project initiation or some kind of conception of what we are going to do. Okay, we are going to cook an omelette. And initiation, let's make the people relevant. We are starting the project, we are going to do this. And analysis, what should I prepare, what are the inputs, how should I work, etc. And design, okay, I'm going to work like this, implement it or construct it, that means do the things, do the execution. Testing, you cook the omelette and just test it to make sure that everything is right, if you are working it for someone else, and then deploy or serve it. Our examples will be from the food domain, so this is the software. And the agile development processes, they are kind of incremental. The same steps as you see here. In the waterfall model or in the traditional model, we assume that you just do the planning, get ready to do things. You finish the planning here during the initiation phase, and just follow the plan step by step. In the agile sense, it is like you have smaller iterations. Here, you serve the food at the end, or you deliver the software at the end here, just at once. In the agile models and the incremental models, you usually do things in increments. You just start running this, but you run this interactively, this process. You run this as quickly as possible and deliver something very quickly. For example, for this one, if this is your purpose, if this is your choice, we are going to do this iteratively in an agile way, and we want to deliver as quickly as possible. Somebody is waiting for this What do you deliver? What can you deliver to? You are going to cook the eggs, so you don't want to give the eggs.
Eating utensils to sew the eggs.
Yeah, maybe you give the utensils, you give the it is kind of process, but still customer sees the late element, so things are coming. And like the utensils, etc. So you produce some kind of excitement on the clients or customer side, rather than just wait, we are going to bring it in 20 minutes. You just deliver the things. Usually, waiters serve you the water and the like the drinks, etc. first, so that they just entertain you while you are waiting for the food. That's not a job. Because the other way is you just wait there about like that, and after 20 minutes or half an hour, you get the carts with all the food at once. So waterfall or traditional is like that. In the other one, you try to deliver as quickly as possible, so that customer is going to be more satisfied. Of course, there are other advantages. So we show this as number of steps, we show this as straight steps, and we just make a turn and just deliver something, make another iteration, deliver something as quickly as possible. We don't deliver the eggs because we need eggs, we have to cook them. Okay. So another thing is we do the planning here in the traditional model. We plan everything from start to end, and we just follow the plan. In the agile one, we have just a way of delivering. We are going to deliver this and this and this, a general plan, which is the rate. And we say, okay, we are going to do an iteration, and then start with the new small plan. That means we can go like do lots of planning, small increments. So if something changes, we are okay, because we can just accept it, or we are welcome to changes because we just do things in small increments. Here the idea is, it is like you have a plan, we never want to change it. If something comes up and you have to change something, that's not good, you don't like it. And you do risk planning as part of the project management or planning, which means there might be things that might go wrong, and you should get prepared for them, and you should have kind of alternative contingency plans while you are doing the planning and try to take care of them. But if something happens that you are not expecting, that's a problem. Okay. So in the planning or in the processes, usually you start with the processes. You have the large process model here. You start with the requirements. You do your design, the implementation, testing, deployment, maintenance, etc. Step by step. And also you get some additional guidance about how to do things. For example, you are going to do the requirements. How am I going to do the requirements? What am I supposed to do, and what am I supposed to produce in that step, in that activity? And you usually get this kind of models, process models, or descriptions about how to proceed and what to produce. And these boxes here, the kind of more elliptical, like with rounded corners, they are the activities or sub-activities. So requirements, you do some kind of requirements elicitation analysis, or you elicit the requirements. That means you try to gather the requirements about what you are going to do, what associated with that. Analyze those requirements, prioritize them, think about them, extend them, and try to understand, etc. And then you specify the requirements, that is, you write them down so that everybody will be seeing them, they will be visible, they will be reviewable. And then you validate the requirements. You sit down and look at the requirements, whether, say, these are your requirements over here, whether they are right or there's a problem. Everybody should be able to see them. And these are the arrows. You see that you do this activity here. Start. And you produce this rectangular boxes are the artifacts or the outcomes. You produce a system description, or you produce system descriptions of the system that you are going to do. And similarly, when you specify the requirements, you come up with the user and system requirements. When you validate the things, you come up with the final requirements document that tells you about everything that you have to prepare, that you have to implement. Similarly, the design process, we are going to take them and put them into our plan. Usually the top level of our plan is just these activities. I just say, if I'm going to develop the software, I start with this requirement elicitation activity. How much time do I have to spend? Let's say 10 minutes, sorry, 10 weeks. And then next step, specify the requirements 2 to 3 weeks. Validate the requirements maybe a few days. And then you go to the design. You go to the other steps, step by step. So it is at the same time your planning process. They guide you in your plan. And here we have a model, process model for the design. These are our inputs that we need them. They should be ready so that we can proceed with the design. And what do? We do the architectural design, interface design, component design, and database design. Usually the way we do it is you start with the architectural design, then interface design, component design. At the same time, architectural design lets us to work on the data. So database design might be done in parallel with other types of design activities. So this is how it describes. You can start with another source. And these are the best practices. They usually tell you about those type of guidelines, tell you about how to do things, what are the best practices, so that people are guided. They know what to do, what step after another. And these are the practices expected from. And the last example from the testing stage or testing activity, do the component testing, unit testing. You said you use that, include the testing components, smaller units first. Then you integrate them, make the system, build the system, and make the system testing. Make sure that the system runs perfectly with your artificial data on your end, on the development side. And acceptance testing is the next step, where you take the system, deliver to the customer, and the customer itself, the actual users, test the system with their own data, real systems, real platforms, and they see whether it is acceptable or not. If it doesn't work, you go ahead and try again. Okay, so I'll go to the project diagram. Just one step. We are going to divide the tasks into smaller parts or smaller steps, assign them to the project team members, and create a project plan. But at this step, I believe we can just do part of the activity. I'm going to change it a little bit. Okay, so we need 2 groups. We don't have so many people. We need
Jasleen and Kobe will be one group,
okay.
and then our guest and Danny will be our other group.
Yeah. Just the papers.
Someone on my YouTube.
I don't know how to. So maybe you can just like take your camera and show your own paper. I don't know, do arrange.
We might be able to use the document camera to our.
Okay, maybe you can make that part of it. So we are going to prepare, or you are going to prepare serve food together in one of the branches of the cheesecake factory. Okay. And this is the menu. You can go to the online menu. But I chose 2 orders or 2 dishes for you. You know, we have 2 guests, and one of the guests is asking you to prepare California on that. This one here. The other guest is asking for fresh grilled salmon. So one of the groups is going to prepare this dish, and this other group is going to prepare this one. With the addition of that. I need the next slide. Okay, with the addition of a beverage or this dessert with it. Not add or dessert. Okay,
So it'd probably be best if we did it on the whiteboard, because the whiteboard's in camera. So if we could have one group of students do the activity on the whiteboard, that would work well, I
okay,
think.
okay, these are good class. Actually, I would like to do the sentence in my classes.
Yeah.
You come and do it together.
Oh, you want me to come join?
No, come to my classes and let's do it together. So we need to write the recipes and the steps about preparing these food and the dessert or beverage and serve it to the customer. Step by step. Start with the inputs, cook it, and serve it to the customer. So it will start from the inputs, it will end with the serving to the customer. Yeah, so these are the ingredients. You can take them, you chop them, and you cook them, you put them to the plate, etc. So it's easy, right?
All right, here, Danielle, here's one for you too.
And
Red versus blue here.
yeah, these are the things like green onion, tomato, garlic, shallots. Shallots are those small onions. Jag, cheddar. Oh, I don't know what is jag. Cheddar, Swiss cheese, and sour cream, etc. So you know, this might be easier.
Yes, we'll take on the second of that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So we're doing the agile versus
Yeah.
I would do it.
One of the groups, I'll put one more. If I put it right now, I will later. Okay, let's go with this first, then I'll make small changes. I will go with the model state. How much time do you need? 5 minutes?
Let's say 5 minutes.
yeah.
Okay, let's say 7 minutes, okay? 7, so then we'll 1 or 5.
Perfect.
Okay,
I'm gonna stop sharing that screen and just so everybody can just see the,
So,
Don't forget the
I'm
internet.
thinking it.
Let's put it yours, okay?
Agile.
do I-
And use.
Can I get one sheet?
is that a dead one?
Yes.
There's one on the floor here.
Let's take the.
It's not very optimistic.
Do you have any black pens, sir? Might be more readable because it is not very readable.
Yeah, it's not very readable there.
Black ones.
That one's
There's a
dead.
blue. Oh. Okay, let me see.
I wonder if we.
Okay, I have a black one here. So, okay, I'll try to find another.
Oh, that's readable, yeah. Everybody on the Zoom call, thanks for bearing with us on this. It's a bit of an adventure. There's like a billion in my office.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a red one. I have a red one.
Thank you.
So then those are right there, the eggs. No, you know, when you just deliver it because it's sort of whatever.
Ah, you are going to go agile. Okay, let's go with the agile and go.
I'm going to eggs out here. Prepare eggs.
No, so we should next.
No,
Uh,
now I know everything will say.
so,
What's the?
Place. And then, so, then. These. And, yeah, well, no,
Can you guys speak up a bit and kind of narrate what you're doing?
I'm adding the, add egg and cheese,
Okay.
and then when it's, let it cook for a couple minutes. And then we go, and then we add vegetables,
3 minutes.
and then you just let it cook another 3 to 5 minutes. Deliver eggs, deliver. There's one.
Utensils like cutlery.
Oh, yeah, and
Are you planning on putting it on a plate?
Yes.
I think I sent out the plate earlier, didn't I? Yeah, there's a toast on the plate.
So are you just taking the plate, the omelet in your hands on the plate?
omelet on with. I'm just gonna do a second line here. With you and some. That's part of this.
All right, you guys think you're done?
Pretty much, yeah, let me work on it. So in this small example, the idea is in the waterfall model, in the predictive model, we have to plan things, make the preparation, prepare all the inputs. So this is like we do the planning, we do the preparation at the beginning. So prepare ingredients. The beginning, so we should make sure that we are ready to proceed. And then we go with the, even this unfreeze is something like initial here. So we adjust the things so that everything is ready. Then we start chopping the things and cooking the things, put them into the plate and serve at once. So the idea is we serve everything at once and we prepare everything initially. So everything should be ready so that we can start the process. And in the agile, really what we do is we try to do cycles. We do things and deliver. So we deliver the soda and toast, which is okay. Then what is the next cycle? Too large. To chop it off and wish to deliver something smaller. What is the next thing that you can do? The vegetables? Maybe you do the vegetables. prepare the vegetables, cut the vegetables, cook or prepare them and deliver. So that customer is going to see that things are coming. They'll like more satisfaction. So of course we have to reflect this to the software one, not put for like restaurant business. In some sense, it doesn't make so much sense in restaurants, but that's what we do in the software. So we do an iteration and serve the like side dish, etc. And then we take the fish, and at this point, maybe we can unfreeze it, prepare it, and do the things, cook it, and deliver the fish at once at that. So we just do multiple deliveries there. Make sense? Okay, so I'm going to bring you two things, two risks or two problems. We prepared the ingredients and we started the cooking, etc. We are somewhere here, no delivery yet. And customer calls you and they says, I don't want the salmon. I want to change it to like shrimp instead of salmon. At this point, somewhere. What happens?
You have to restart.
Yeah, you don't like it. You have to restart. We don't see the pictures, but the things are very similar. All the things, the like side dishes are all almost the same things, like just the sound is changing with the shrimp. But we don't like it because we already take those ingredients, unfroze the salmon, and we cannot sell it to somebody else. So we have to ask the customer to compensate for it because we have already started to do this. So we don't like it. What about here? Somewhere here.
Already gave them the vegetables, so you can just start preparing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter so much because if you did not serve it yet, you did not start working with it. So you can just change this part of the process and work on the shrimp instead of salmon. So this is adaptable to changes. Okay, but it also has problems. The agile models also have problems. Here you guaranteed or saved all the ingredients for your cooking. So you are safe. You know that they are all on there and the table waiting for you. And suppose that you deliver the soda, roast vegetables, etc. And you come to here. And at this step, you open the freezer. And oh, there's no salmon. Customer already got part of the things. And there's no salmon because somebody just like served it to somebody else. What happens? Yeah, you have to go to the customer and you have to say you have to change. This is because that you did not make the plan at upfront. You just waited until the last moment. You just miss some of the opportunities. Some things may go wrong for you. It is okay for the customer to change the order, but usually you don't want to commit to something and change it afterwards, as the restaurant. She doesn't like the show. So these are the problems about agile and waterfall. Okay, let's switch the rest of the slides here.
Here, give me 1 second, real quick. Sorry.
Okay.
Share screen. Oops. Present that.
So,
Sorry, that's my bad.
Yep, no problem. So I'll just make a quick finish here.
Excuse me, we're hosting a seminar right now. Okay.
So it is. Let me start from there.
Oh, geez. Sorry.
We can stop here. So usually we don't do our tasks like this in the project, in the software domain, or as a project manager. Instead, we start with steps like this, but we reflect it to a project schedule, a Gantt chart, where we list of all of our activities within the phases that we have seen. So we see that like the blue lines or the blue rows indicate those phases that like requires design and implementation, testing, etc. And within that, we divide those activities into smaller pieces. We can just reflect it from the process models, but here, for example, we take this one, preparation, and then the first phase, the second phase, third phase, or preparation and prepare maybe the fish, prepare the vegetables, prepare the beverage, etc. And you write those activities one after another in this table. This is just like an example. So we write them here. We write the people who are going to be involved in doing those activities, who are going to perform those activities. There might be multiple people, so you just make a cross sentence. Daniel is responsible for this activity, or Rafael is responsible for this activity, and then this is your timeline in terms of weeks. You can make it days, but not hours usually. So weeks or sometimes days is good enough. Usually weeks are used. So you just mark it with another color, like I am going to do the project kickoff in the 3rd week of January. And I am going to do the process workshops in the same week. But it will take 2 weeks long to finish the process workshops. I'll work on the requirement specification starting on the last week of January for 2 weeks. And then do the value relation in the following week, which is in February. Etc. So this shows you visually about how you are going to execute your perform your activities for these things, so they can work for this you reach to your end goal. And usually if you have something like a delivery or some kind of important event that marks the end of those set of activities, we mark it with another color, with a diagonal, and we call it as a milestone. That's a milestone. We do all these activities and end this set of activities, which are part of the concept phase, with a milestone, which is a project status. When we do it, that's that means we are all done with this concept phase. And similarly, we do this other things. These are the kind of the activities, blue lines. Yellow lines are like the smaller parts of it, which are the tasks. And these are the timing of those activities. And red ones are the milestones that mark the important events. And this is what we take as the project schedule, which is called the Gantt chart. And then this is our plan. We just follow this. So after 2 weeks, we check whether you are at this point in your plan, in your execution. That means whether you are done with the process workshops, because you said I'm going to be finishing that in 2 weeks. Have you done? Have you finished that? Similarly, have you started the requirement specification, writing the requirement specification? So it gives you a way to monitor and control the project. If you are late, then you can say, okay, guys, we are late, so we should run faster. Okay. I think I'm going to stop here. You've got a few ideas. Sometimes less is more, right? So we said project planning or project management is a large discipline, a discipline by itself. But we are going to look at the planning part. In software domain, we will start with those models and protect them from the Gantt chart. We put the smaller activities or smaller tasks under them. And that's our project plan. Everybody sees it. And then you just keep monitoring it. If you are late, you just make arrangements or you just push the people to run faster so that you are going to catch the deadlines, which are usually the milestones. You can get late in between, but the milestone dates are usually more important. You should catch that milestone dates. In waterfall planning, usually they are the end of the phases. You finish the requirements phase and then you have a milestone. You finish the design, you have a milestone. In agile, you know about Scrum, like every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, it is the end of the sprint, so that is the milestone. You either finish the things or you just leave it for the next stage, next sprint. So I hope you had some benefits from it. It was very little time.
Well, thank you, Dr. Dincer, for that introduction to project management. Everybody, let's give a round of applause. And we haven't scheduled our next seminars yet, but we'll be doing that soon. Look out in your email and we'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good.